Strategic Script, the 2026 Global Order Resetting. Introduction. Welcome back to the Strategic Observatory. Today, January 3rd, 2026, we are doing more than just reporting the news. We are stripping back the layers of a shifting world order. In the current climate, there is no room for vague speculation, only data, hardware, and the high-stakes chess moves of superpowers. Here are the 15 seismic developments you must master to maintain your edge. 2. The 15 strategic briefings. 1. Xi Jinping's New Year address. The blueprint for a self-sufficient superpower, the 1st of January 2026, according to the Financial Times. On January 1st, 2026, President Xi Jinping has officially elevated the technology race to a level of national survival. He lauded the rise of comprehensive national power, specifically highlighting breakthroughs in AI and next-gen semiconductor manufacturing designed to shatter Western sanctions. Militarily, the reaffirmation of Taiwan's reunification was no longer a diplomatic trope but was presented alongside concrete defense achievements. For a global audience, this signals that Beijing has finalized both the psychological and material groundwork for a long-term confrontation with the United States. 2026. Strategic business and tech trends. The pragmatization of AI per a deep report from the Financial Times. The 2026 economic landscape is being defined by the pragmatization of AI, moving beyond experimental phases. AI is now deeply integrated into smart weaponry production and military supply chain management. The current wave of tech M&A mergers and acquisitions is no longer chasing short-term margins but focuses on securing core patents for national security. We are witnessing an unprecedented fusion of high finance, banking, power, and government. Military requirements, creating a new and formidable military-industrial-complex. 3W 2026 Outlook. A world on the brink of stagnation. The 1st of January 2026, according to the Star. On January 1st, 2026, the World Bank, WB, and IMF project global growth to hover at a fragile 3% for 2026. The primary culprits remain the endless disruptions in supply chains, at geopolitical flashpoints, and skyrocketing maritime shipping costs. For business leaders, this 3% figure is a stark warning of stagnation in traditional markets, forcing investors to pivot capital toward defensive sectors or economies with high energy autonomy. 4. NATO and the 5% GDP target. Deterrence as a budgetary weapon. According to strategic dossiers from Lazard Asset Management, NATO member states are converging on a consensus to raise defense spending to 5% of GDP by 2035. This is a quantum leap from the previous 2% standard. Focusing budgets on strategic infrastructure, smart arms lists, and multi-layered air defense systems will directly boost the GDP of defense industrial giants like Germany and France, while simultaneously signaling a period of austerity for social welfare programs across Europe. 55. Flashpoints deciding the fate of the decade in 2026 per sources from The Sun. Security experts have identified 5 regions at risk of direct conflict between major powers, ranging from simmering tensions in the Caribbean, 2 direct confrontations in the South China Sea and the Eastern European borders. These flashpoints are not merely localized issues but are choke points of global trade. Any strategic miscalculation here could trigger a large-scale energy and financial crisis, completely redrawing the map of power within the next 10 years. 6. U.S. reaffirms long-term military commitment to Ukraine 2026. According to AP News, the United States has approved a long-term military funding plan, focusing on long-range defense systems and autonomous drone technology. This policy indicates that Washington is no longer seeking a quick fix, but is preparing for a war of attrition aimed at exhausting Russia's potential. It is a game of patience and defense industrial capacity, where the U.S. is striving to prove that its status as the arsenal of the free world remains unshaken. 7. Japan's record defense budget. The Pacific turning point reported by Reuters and the BBC. Tokyo officially approved its highest defense budget in history in the first week of 2026. The most striking element is not the figure itself, but the shift in doctrine, from passive defense to active counterstrike capability. The deployment of long-range missiles and the strengthening of helicopter carrier fleets are direct responses to the expansion of the Chinese Navy. Japan is now ready to serve as the most proactive and powerful player for the U.S. on the Indo-Pacific. 8. IMF warning. The collapse of free trade barriers. According to an IMF report, new tariff measures and trade barriers fueled by geopolitical friction are driving global transaction costs to record highs. The IMF warns that this instability is causing capital flight from emerging markets back to the U.S. and its secure allies. For the modern gentleman investor, this is the time to restructure portfolios, prioritizing enterprises with domestic supply chains or those with unstable political alliances. 9. Chatham House. The AI disruption of the knowledge class 2026 analysis from Chatham House indicates that by 2026, artificial intelligence will not only replace manual labor, but will directly impact 60% of high-level knowledge jobs, including lawyers, financial analysts, and software engineers. This disruption will create a massive gap in national competitiveness. Nations that control the compute infrastructure and data will hold the power over global labor productivity, creating a new form of technological inequality. 10 Ukraine. Economic calculations amidst the fog of war, 12% inflation per the QU Independent. Inflation in Ukraine has hit 12%, reflecting economic exhaustion after years of war. The rising cost of living is becoming a greater challenge to internal stability than artillery fire. This forces the international community to shift from weapon support to direct budget support to maintain the basic functions of the state, raising significant questions about the long-term sustainability of aid packages. 11 Bloomberg. Signals from the Fed and financial market caution according to Bloomberg on January 2, 2026. Early year U.S. economic data shows core inflation remains persistent due to high energy prices and shipping costs. The Federal Reserve has signaled that interest rates will remain higher for longer. This has shattered hopes for a period of cheap money, forcing investors to face a harsh reality. Capital is becoming increasingly expensive, and only truly efficient projects will survive. 12. Wall Street Journal. U.S. budget deficits and sovereign debt risks, according to the Wall Street Journal. The U.S. government is facing suffocating pressure between maintaining a massive defense budget and managing a ballooning national debt. Debates in Washington regarding cutting social spending to fund military programs are creating a deep internal divide globally. The strength of the USD is being questioned as confidence in U.S. fiscal management begins to show cracks. 13. Foreign policy. The hub-and-spoke encirclement strategy in East Asia analysis by Foreign Policy reveals that Washington is deploying a new hub-and-spoke alliance network in the Pacific. Tightening military ties with Japan, Australia, and the Philippines serves not only defense purposes but also creates a semiconductor and technology encirclement belt against China. This is a century-defining game of Go, where every strategic island is becoming a potential fire-base. 14. Politico. U.S. political polarization ahead of the 2026 midterms, the 1st of March 2026 according to Politico, on January 3, 2026. The American political landscape is entering a phase of radicalization ahead of the midterm elections. Disagreements over foreign aid and AI regulations are at the center of every debate. The outcome of these elections will determine whether the U.S. continues its role as the global policeman or retreats into extreme protectionism, leaving a dangerous power vacuum. 15 Nikkei Asia. The new semiconductor map and total decoupling. Per Nikkei Asia, the decoupling of semiconductor supply chains between the US and China has reached an irreversible point in 2026. The most advanced chip factories are shifting to the US, Japan, and India under massive government subsidies. The global tech map is being redrawn, where profit is no longer the primary factor. Instead, political safety of supply is paramount. 3. Conclusion and call to action, gentlemen. These 15 developments are the framework for the 2026 global landscape. We are living in an era where preparation and intellect will determine the victors. If you value these pragmatic insights and razor-sharp data, support us by hitting the like and subscribe buttons. Your interaction helps the algorithm deliver this critical information to more like-minded individuals. Leave your thoughts in the comments below on which news item concerns you the most. Stay sharp and stay decisive. I'll see you in the next briefing.